Okay, so it looks like Oblivion RE, the Remastered edition, is changing. The Gooners are on the rise, and Gooner mods are getting more sophisticated and innovative. So we get to see magnificent creations like the Latex Harem outfit. It has physics, and a design that will make you say, what the heck, why is it stapled to the nose, ears and boobas? Will that help me in combat? But fear not, we also have a lot of practical mods in this episode. Mods that will actually improve the game and make it better, not just Goon Cave grade nonsense. So buckle up and let's roll. So the first actually useful mod is FuzzUI, interface tweaks. Finally we have a UI mod just like SkyUI for Skyrim and FallUI for Fallout. Although FuzzUI is not that complicated, it makes the menus way more compact and allows you to see much more information at a time, but it does not really add new information, like for example damage per second like we had in Starfield, so it's not a complete overhaul but more really like a tweak to make the menus a bit more convenient. I'm also using it together with the menu Recolor mod. It makes the whole thing a bit darker and not so exhausting for the eyes, since the majority of the game is rather dark. Also for the Alchemy menus it is recommended to download a separate mod called FuzzUI plus Alchemy, kinda like an extension to the FuzzUI. Basically this is the same thing, but it makes the menus even more compact. And speaking of menus, we have quite a breakthrough here for the character customization, RaceMenu Utilities. This mod allows you to do a couple of things. You can, for example, save and load character presets. For that you don't even need to enter the show race menu, everything can be done with console commands. You can do a bit more things here as well. It's a bit tricky since there is no special menu, so you have to type everything in the console, but it is doable. The much more interesting and convenient feature, however, does bring a new menu. It is a whole new interface you can open with the H button. It is best done in the inventory menu. The whole thing is still highly experimental and a bit unstable and laggy sometimes when you mess with the sliders, for example, but it brings so many new options. For example, you can go over the limit with the sliders and set the value to 3 times of the usual. You can also use more colors than the default menu allows, and you even have access to all the assets of all races. So you can put a beard on a female, for example. Yes, where are all the people from the first episode who said mods are transphobe and called me names? Well, I guess they should be happy with this now. It is actually really cool how you can use all the hairs and eyes, for example, even from unplayable races, and all that even without entering the race menu. And there are supposed to be even more features that will be added in future updates, so definitely cool stuff. Another vital part of the menus is the quick access wheel, and for that we have Xorberax's slow motion wheel mod. Yes, basically this just slows down time as you open the quick wheel, so you can select whatever you want to equip in peace and don't have to worry about the enemies hitting you while you are at it. Pretty much like in all the other games with such a quick wheel mechanic. This is not Dark Souls after all, so it does not need to stay real time. Okay, next we are going to improve the combat a bit. One important mod here is the responsive combat AI. You might have noticed that the enemy AI in this game is not really smart. It looks like they didn't update it at all for this remaster, so enemies will often just zone out and do absolutely nothing for a couple of seconds sometimes. So with this mod the idle times should be reduced and the chance for the enemies to dodge, attack, power attack or block will be higher. In other words, the enemies will be more active in combat. It will feel less turn-based and more like an actual real-time battle, because the combat system in this game is actually turn-based. There are invisible rolls going on all the time, we just don't see them. And this is exactly what this mod changes. It increases the chance for all actions for most enemies. And since our enemies are now more agile and active, we also need a cool new ability for ourselves. And this is where the times block comes in. Yes, this is really a legitimate times block mechanic, with a slow-mo effect, a visual effect, and an invincibility effect. So in other words, if you manage to pull off a times block, you will see this flash over the screen, a bit of slow-mo effect, and you will take no damage to health or stamina. The enemies will also be staggered a little bit. It is not always easy to pull this off. It seems for attacks with a long animation you have to press block earlier, but when it works, it is obviously cool. It even works on ranged enemies, and the funny thing here is, the enemies will be staggered too a little bit, and that's not a bad thing in my opinion, actually. Just imagine that you redirected the arrow back to the archer, like a Jedi. So yes, it's obviously cool stuff. Next we have a couple of practical mods. The shield on back, for example. It's a very simple mod. The shield goes to your character's back when unequipped, instead of holding it in your hand all the time like a woman's handbag. This, however, does not apply to all shields in the game. Just the player character will be doing it this way, so you can be like a real trendsetter with this. The guards will be like, "Have you seen this wanderer? He's got a shield on back. A shield on back." But that's not all. The newest version of this mod even has a cool menu that you can open with the P button. Here you can also rebind it to another hotkey if you wish, and you can adjust the shield's position, angle and even scale. This is obviously to prevent clipping with the different outfits. Quite an awesome feature, except the scaling part. Don't get me wrong, it's fun and all, but it's just too bad that it only applies to the shields on your back. And here I was looking forward to running around with a tower shield, but okay, still quite amazing. And the other amazing mod is the Amazing Waste Lantern. Well, actually, it's the actual lantern. Yes, even with physics. It will immersively bounce around. They removed the physics from so many objects for this remaster. For some reason, it's not even funny. So at least we get a bouncy lantern. Anyway, very practical stuff. Can be turned on and off with the B button. And if you hold this button down, you can unequip and re-equip it. You can also change this to another hotkey in the engine menu, so that's cool too. This lantern is an awesome alternative to the torches and light spells we have in this game. It is not very bright by default, but you can change this too in the engine ini, and even choose different colors for the light. So definitely an awesome addition and a real must for all the true explorers. But okay, all those practical mods are nice and all, but are you ready? Ready for what, you ask? Well, for some professional gooning, obviously, because next we have NBO, Natural Bodies of Oblivion, which is not just another body replacer, but a CBBE level of depth work, featuring a custom skeleton and all kinds of body morphs. It obviously works for all races and even allows you to do all kinds of changes in real time. You can open this new interface with the Como button by default, and here we have, once again, the option to save and load presets. Except that now we have a nice menu, so more convenient to use. And then sliders. So many sliders. There are like 100 sliders for the booba options alone. Slightly exaggerating maybe, but seriously, there are like 20 sliders for the nipples. Of course, since I installed the underwear and not the nude option, most of those nipple options don't do anything. But you get what I mean. Yes, I'm still not sure how YouTube works with pervy 3D stuff. Some people get demonetized for nothing, others post real hardcore stuff and nothing happens. Anyway, you can also make your characters real buff looking with this, add muscle definition, even select different options for physics, meaning breast jiggle and so on. Yeah, the customization with this here is really crazy. So if you ever wanted to play as Brock Lesnar's daughter, now you can. And combined with the RaceMenu Utilities, well, do I need to say anything here? I don't know what I have created here and how I feel about it, but yeah, it was fun. No regrets. And fortunately, not only the female characters get to have this kind of fun, NBO has a male body add-on, so get ready for some hardcore penis customization. So many options for this here. I mean, I selected the underwear option again, so I don't need to do any censoring, but if this was not the case, I would set all the sliders to max, of course, you know, because it's a fantasy game. But jokes aside, at least let's make Dildor the Barbarian for a proper representation of the chat of Quatch. That way we can flex on all those regular mortals. Make way, simple folk, Dildor the White is coming through. Seriously, just look at all those quarking facial expressions. It's like the memes write themselves. We don't even need to mod anything here. Yep, Bethesda did it again. And of course there are a lot of mods to make proper use of this whole new slider madness. NBO outfit conversion, for example. This mod includes all the non-armor outfits and makes them work properly with NBO, so the jiggle physics will work properly. The funny thing is, most of the sliders appear to properly work with non-edited armors too, like the veteran hero here for example. The only thing that does not work are the jiggle physics. You will however also need to download an armor converter mod that is compatible with NBO, because if you don't, the jiggle physics will actually work and clip through the armors. Not all of them, but the Dark Seducer armor for example, so you still need to do that. For that you can get the NBO Armor mod, that is basically just for the compatibility. Or if you want to go full goon mode, then you can also get the RAO, remade armors of Oblivion for NBO. This is, well, basically a skimpified version of all the vanilla armors. There is not much to add here. Gooners gonna goon, or something like this, I don't know. Anyway, enough of this for now. There are more mods that use this new mechanic of course, but we are not gonna list them all in this episode. Instead, we are going to overhaul the outdoor lighting a little bit. There are several mods for this, starting with Lumiere, Lights of Cyrodiil. This mod adds a lot of new light sources in form of lanterns, lampposts and so on. It will add a lot of illumination alongside roads, inns and more. It does more or less the same thing lanterns of Skyrim did for Skyrim. And if you use this mod in combination with Enhanced Light Radius, basically a mod that increases the draw distance for light sources, meaning static torches, campfires, doomstones and so on, this will increase the visual awesomeness even more. The vanilla distance at which you can see light sources is really not that big in this game, and with this mod you can increase it to up to 3 times. That may cost you a couple of FPS of course, depending on your machine, but once again, the visual difference is really something. And another mod, or more like mod series that goes in the same direction and adds to the awesome visual experience is Rabbit Real Light mods. For those who watched my Starfield reviews, this year is a little bit different. The Starfield mods were about replacing fake lights with actual light sources that would really illuminate the surroundings, and here it is more about adding new light sources to places that could really use them. So here it is more similar to the Lumiere mod actually, but needless to say it does make the visuals much better. So all those mods combined will definitely redefine how you perceive the game, especially during dark times. And this is all for this episode. Links to all mods as always in the description below. Don't forget to endorse the mods you like. Leave a comment, hit the like and subscribe button for more cool mods, and see you around.